Everything you've been taught about making money is backwards. You've been told to work harder, sacrifice more, struggle longer, and meanwhile, your subconscious mind is working against you 24 hours a day because no one taught you how to program it correctly. The truth is this: wealth is a state of consciousness before it's a state of your bank account. And consciousness can be changed with words, not just any words, but specific words repeated with feeling and understanding. I've spent 50 years studying the laws of mind, and I can tell you with absolute certainty, these 7 words will begin to reprogram your subconscious mind for wealth if you use them correctly. Let me show you how. You see, most people live their entire lives never understanding this fundamental truth. They wake up every morning and immediately start their day with thoughts of limitation. They look at their circumstances and say, "This is just the way it is. This is my lot in life. I wasn't born into money. I don't have the right connections. I'm not lucky like other people." And with each of these thoughts, with each of these feelings, they're instructing their subconscious mind to create more of the same. They're literally programming poverty into their experience, and they don't even know they're doing it. I want you to understand something right from the start. This isn't about wishful thinking. This isn't about pretending you have money when you don't. This is about understanding the scientific law of your own mind and using it deliberately, consciously, to create the financial reality you desire. Your subconscious mind is not mystical or mysterious. It's a powerful creative mechanism that works according to definite laws, and when you understand these laws, you can use them to transform every area of your life, especially your finances. Now, by the end of our time together, you're going to understand something most people never learn. Your subconscious mind is the source of your financial reality. Not your boss, not the economy, not your education or background, your subconscious mind. And what determines what your subconscious creates? The beliefs, the feelings, the words you've been impressing upon it day after day, year after year. Think about this for a moment. Your subconscious mind has been recording everything. Every conversation you've ever heard about money. Every feeling you've ever experienced around financial lack or abundance. Every statement your parents made, your teachers said, your friends repeated. All of this has been stored in your subconscious, and it's creating your current financial reality with absolute precision. Your subconscious doesn't judge whether these beliefs are good for you or bad for you. It simply executes them faithfully, like a computer running a program. Here's what's happening to you right now if money is a struggle. You wake up and immediately feel anxiety about bills. Before your feet even touch the floor, your mind is racing with worry. You check your bank account and feel that familiar knot in your stomach, that tightness in your chest. You go to work thinking, "I never have enough." You see prices rising and think, "I can't afford this." You watch others spending freely and feel that pang of envy mixed with resignation. Every single one of these moments is an instruction to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious is faithful. It will create circumstances that match these instructions perfectly. And here's what makes this so insidious. The more you experience lack, the more you expect lack, which creates more feelings of lack, which impresses more lack on your subconscious, which creates more lack in your experience. It's a vicious cycle, a downward spiral that feels impossible to escape. But I'm here to tell you it's not impossible. It's actually quite simple once you understand the mechanism. You're not failing, you're not broken, you're not being punished by God or the universe. You've simply never been taught how to use the most powerful creative force you possess, your own subconscious mind. And that's not your fault. Our educational system doesn't teach this. Most religious institutions don't teach this. Your parents probably didn't know this, but now you're going to learn it, and it's going to change everything. Let me tell you what I'm going to address today, because I want you to know that I understand exactly what you're going through. First, that feeling of being stuck. You work hard, you do everything right, you follow all the conventional advice, but wealth seems to flow to others, not you. You watch people who seem less deserving, less hardworking, less intelligent somehow prosper while you struggle. This creates a deep frustration, sometimes even bitterness. Why them, and not me? What am I doing wrong? We'll discover why this happens and how to reverse it completely. Second, the anxiety loop. This is perhaps the most painful part of financial struggle. Money worry creates more money problems. You're anxious about bills, which creates stress, which affects your sleep, which impacts your work performance, which threatens your income, which creates more anxiety. It's a feedback loop that feels like drowning. You can't think clearly when you're anxious. You make poor decisions. You miss opportunities because your mind is consumed with worry. I'll show you how to break this cycle using the 7 words that interrupt negative programming at its source. Third, the gap between your effort and your results. This one frustrates people more than anything else. You've tried affirmations, vision boards, positive thinking, maybe even prayer and meditation, but nothing seems to stick. You feel good for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, and then reality comes crashing back in. The bills are still there. The bank account is still low. The opportunities still aren't appearing. And you think, see, I knew it wouldn't work for me, but that's because you were missing the crucial element I'll teach you today. You were working with the conscious mind only, and the conscious mind has no power to create circumstances. It's the subconscious that creates, and the subconscious requires a specific approach. And fourth, that deeply painful belief that it works for others but not for me. You've seen others succeed with these principles. You've read the testimonials, heard the success stories, watched people transform their lives, but somewhere deep inside, you don't believe it can happen for you. Maybe you feel you're too old, started too late, made too many mistakes. Maybe you feel cursed or unlucky or just fundamentally different. This belief is like a wall between you and your prosperity, and I'll show you exactly why your subconscious has been blocking your success and precisely how to open the channel so abundance can flow to you as easily as it flows to anyone else. Now, why is this approach different? Most people teaching about wealth tell you to think positive or visualize success, and then you try it, and nothing changes. Why? Because they're leaving out the most important part: feeling. Your subconscious doesn't respond to empty words. It responds to words charged with feeling, conviction, and acceptance. The 7 words I'm giving you today aren't magic, they're strategic. They're designed specifically to bypass your conscious doubts and speak directly to the part of your mind that controls your financial reality. When you repeat them correctly, with the technique I'll teach you, you're not just saying words. You're impressing a new pattern, a new belief, a new truth upon the creative medium of your subconscious. I've studied the laws of mind for over 50 years. I've counseled thousands of people who came to me in financial desperation and watched them transform their circumstances, not through harder work, but through changed consciousness. I've tested these principles in my own life, in the lives of my students, and I've seen the law work with mathematical certainty when applied correctly. But more than credentials, I understand your struggle because I've lived it. I know what it feels like to believe you're doing everything right and still face limitation. I know the shame of financial struggle, the fear of an uncertain future, and I know, with absolute certainty, that these feelings are not your destiny. They're simply the result of unconscious programming that can be changed. Think about the contrast you're about to experience, from waking up with money anxiety to waking up with calm expectation of financial flow. From watching others prosper while you struggle to understanding you're using the same law just more consciously. From affirmations that feel like lies to words that create genuine feeling and conviction. From trying and failing with manifestation to understanding the precise science of subconscious programming. Now, the most important misconception I need to correct is this. You've been taught that changing your financial reality requires external action, a better job, more education, connections, luck. But external action without internal change is exhausting and temporary. The truth is this. Change your inner conversation, and your outer circumstances must change to reflect it. This isn't positive thinking. This is scientific prayer. This is the law of your own mind. My promise to you is simple. If you stay with me for the next 70 minutes, you will never look at wealth the same way again. You'll understand the simple, repeatable process for reprogramming your subconscious mind. You'll receive the 7 specific words and the exact technique for using them. And most importantly, you'll feel something shift inside you, a recognition that you've always had this power, and now you finally know how to use it. This isn't going to be complicated. It's going to be simple, practical, and immediately applicable. All I ask is that you approach this with an open mind and a willing heart. Your subconscious is listening right now. Let's give it something worth believing. Let me take you back to where I first discovered these principles. Because the truth is always validated through experience, I want to share several stories with you, stories that will show you These aren't theories, these are laws, as reliable as gravity. Some are from my own life, some from people I've helped. Each one will reveal a different aspect of how these 7 words work. Early in my ministry, I was struggling financially despite my education and dedication. I had all this spiritual knowledge, all this understanding of God and prayer, and yet I couldn't seem to demonstrate prosperity in my own life. There was this disconnect that frustrated me deeply. I remember one night, sitting alone in my room, feeling confused and almost angry. Here I was, a minister, teaching people about God's abundance, and I was worried about paying my rent. The irony wasn't lost on me, and it felt like a cruel joke. I had graduated from the best schools. I had studied theology, philosophy, psychology. I could quote scripture, explain doctrine, counsel people through their problems. But when it came to my own financial situation, I felt helpless. And the worst part was the shame. I was embarrassed. Here I was, a man of God, and I couldn't even pay my bills on time. What would people think if they knew? What kind of minister struggles with money? Doesn't that prove that prayer doesn't work? These thoughts haunted me. That night, I was reading a psychology text, not a religious book, and this is important because sometimes truth comes from unexpected places. I came across information about the subconscious mind and how it functions as a servo mechanism, automatically working to create circumstances that match the dominant impressions it receives. And in that moment, sitting in my small room with my unpaid bills on the desk beside me, something clicked. A light went on in my consciousness. I understood that my conscious prayers, the words I was saying out loud, the requests I was making to God, were being canceled by my unconscious beliefs. All day long, I was praying for prosperity with my words, but underneath, in my subconscious mind, I was feeling unworthy. I was believing that ministers should be poor, that poverty was somehow more spiritual, that wanting money was materialistic and ungodly. These were beliefs I didn't even know I had, but they were there, running in the background like a computer program, creating my reality of lack. I was saying one thing with my mouth, but feeling another thing in my heart. And the subconscious mind, it doesn't listen to your words. It listens to your feelings. It responds to what you truly believe, not what you wish you believed. This realization was both devastating and liberating. Devastating because I saw how I had been sabotaging myself for years. Liberating because I realized I could change it. I decided to experiment. I wasn't going to pray the way I'd been praying anymore, begging God for money like a child begging a parent for candy. Instead, I was going to impress my subconscious mind with the truth of abundance. I created 7 simple words. I am wealthy now in God's abundance. Simple. Direct. Present tense. Not future, not someday, not I hope to be or I wish I were, but I am right now in this moment. But the key wasn't just the words. The key was in how I repeated them. Every night before sleep, in that drowsy state when the conscious mind begins to fade and the subconscious becomes accessible, I would repeat these words with feeling. I wouldn't beg. I wouldn't hope. I would accept. I would imagine what it would feel like if these words were absolutely true right now. What would it feel like to be wealthy? Not tomorrow, not next year, but right now in this moment. I'd feel the relief, that beautiful sensation of breathing easily without the weight of financial worry. I'd feel the freedom, the ability to make choices based on what I wanted rather than what I could afford. I'd feel that calm confidence, that inner knowing that everything is taken care of, that I am provided for, that abundance is my natural state, and I would fall asleep in that feeling, letting it be the last thing my conscious mind entertained before surrendering to sleep. The first few nights felt strange, almost like I was lying to myself. My rational mind would argue, "You're not wealthy. Look around you. Look at your bank account. Look at these bills." But I persisted because I understood the principle. I wasn't trying to convince my conscious mind. I was impressing my subconscious mind, and the subconscious doesn't argue. It simply accepts what is impressed upon it with feeling and faith. Within weeks, not months, within weeks, things started to change. And it didn't happen the way I expected. I didn't win the lottery. I didn't receive a massive inheritance. What happened was much more interesting and much more instructive about how this law works. First, unexpected financial gifts arrived. A congregant whom I barely knew handed me an envelope after a service. Inside was money with a note that said, "I felt led to give this to you. God told me you needed it." I hadn't told anyone about my financial situation, but somehow, through channels I couldn't see, my changed consciousness was attracting support. Second, I received a speaking invitation from another church with generous compensation that I hadn't anticipated. The invitation seemed to come out of nowhere, but looking back, I can see how my changed consciousness had opened me to this opportunity that might have always been there, but I couldn't perceive it from my old state of lack. But more importantly, and this is what really proved the principle to me, the anxiety disappeared. That's what I noticed first. The constant worry, the knot in my stomach that I'd wake up with every morning, the tension in my chest when I thought about bills, it was gone, just gone. And when the anxiety left, I could think more clearly. I could make better decisions. I could see opportunities I had been blind to. I could act with confidence instead of desperation. The shift in consciousness came first. The money followed naturally. But the internal change was the real miracle, the real proof that the law was working. And that's when I understood with absolute certainty. Your subconscious accepts what you impress upon it with feeling, especially in that twilight state before sleep, when the critical factor is relaxed and the subconscious is wide open like rich soil ready to receive seeds. This became the foundation of everything I would teach for the next 50 years. This became the principle that would help thousands of people transform their financial reality. And this is what I'm sharing with you today. Now let me tell you about a woman who came to one of my lectures. She was in her 60s, retired on a fixed income. She'd lived her entire life believing money doesn't grow on trees and we can't afford that. These phrases were literally her daily mantras, unconscious programming from childhood that she had never questioned. Her parents had said these things during the Great Depression, and she had absorbed them like a sponge absorbs water. Her parents had said these things, so she said these things, and she never realized she was programming her subconscious mind for poverty with every repetition. She told me later that she couldn't remember a single day of her adult life when she hadn't worried about money. Not one day. Even when she had a steady job, even when the bills were paid, there was always this underlying anxiety, this feeling that disaster was just around the corner, that the other shoe was about to drop. She lived in a constant state of financial fear, and that fear had shaped everything. The way she shopped, always buying the cheapest option even if it wouldn't last. The way she related to her children, always saying no to their requests. The way she held her body, with shoulders hunched as if protecting herself from an invisible threat. Despite being kind, hard-working, and faithful, she lived in constant financial fear. Medical bills were mounting because at her age health issues were arising. Every expense caused stress. A car repair would send her into days of anxiety. An unexpected bill would keep her awake at night. She was living in a prison, and the prison was made of words, the very words she repeated to herself every single day without even realizing it. After my lecture, she approached me, and I'll never forget what she said. Her voice was shaking and there were tears in her eyes. She said, "I've been praying for 30 years. 30 years. Why doesn't God answer?" And there was such pain in her voice, such genuine confusion and hurt. She really believed God was withholding from her. She thought she was being punished for something, or that she wasn't faithful enough, or that maybe God just didn't care about her financial problems. I asked her a simple question. What do you say to yourself about money every day? And when she told me those phrases, money doesn't grow on trees, we can't afford that, I can't afford it, I never have enough, I said to her as gently as I could, you've been praying with your words, but impressing poverty with your feelings. You've been asking God for abundance, while commanding your subconscious to create lack. Your prayers go up to heaven, but your subconscious mind is listening to your daily conversation with yourself, and that conversation is one of limitation, lack, and fear. You see, she didn't understand that God, infinite intelligence, the universe, whatever term you prefer, doesn't withhold from anyone. The supply is infinite and available to all, but we have to be in the consciousness to receive it. We have to open the channel. Her prayers were like trying to fill a cup that's turned upside down. The water is flowing, the abundance is there, but she's not in position to receive it because her consciousness is closed off by fear and negative programming. I gave her 7 specific words. God's infinite abundance flows through me. I chose these words carefully for her because I knew she needed to feel connected to God, to feel that the abundance wasn't coming from her own efforts but from a divine source. The word "through" was important too. not to me, which would imply she had to earn it or deserve it, but through me, which positions her as a channel, a vessel through which abundance flows freely. I instructed her to whisper these words every night and morning, to feel the truth of infinite abundance, to see herself as a channel, not a container. A container can empty out, but a channel is always flowing. I told her to imagine herself as a pipe through which God's abundance flows continuously, never running dry, never depleted, always flowing. Just a channel through which God's abundance flows, requiring nothing from her but openness and acceptance. The first week, she wrote to tell me the words felt hollow. She felt like she was lying to herself. Every time she said God's infinite abundance flows through me, her mind would immediately counter with, "No, it doesn't. Look at your bank account. Look at your situation." She said it felt like she was pretending, like a child playing make-believe. And I wrote back and told her, that feeling is your old programming resisting. It's like an old recording playing in your mind, and it will try to maintain itself because that's what mental patterns do. They resist change. But keep going. Your subconscious is listening, even when your conscious mind doubts. The subconscious doesn't argue. It simply receives impressions. Keep impressing the new pattern. 3 weeks in, she wrote again with something interesting. She said she'd stop tensing up when opening bills. She didn't even realize it had happened until one day she opened an envelope from a creditor and noticed she felt calm. Not excited, not even particularly hopeful, just calm. And this was significant because for years, decades even, she would feel her stomach drop when she saw a bill in the mailbox. Her hands would shake slightly as she opened it. But now, nothing. Just calm. It was a small sign, but significant. The internal state was changing. The consciousness was shifting before any external evidence appeared. 2 months later I received another letter, and this one was different. Her handwriting seemed lighter somehow, more energetic. She told me about 3 separate things that had happened. First, an unexpected inheritance from a distant relative she barely knew, someone she'd met maybe twice in her life at family reunions decades ago. This relative had passed and left her a sum of money in the will. Not a fortune, but enough to clear some debts and create a cushion. Second, a neighbor, a woman she'd chatted with occasionally but wasn't particularly close to, insisted on paying her to help with errands. The neighbor was elderly and having trouble getting around, and she wanted to hire my student to do grocery shopping and drive her to appointments. It was a simple arrangement, but it brought in regular income she hadn't expected. And here's the remarkable part, the thing that really proved the principle. Her pension provider discovered an error. They'd been underpaying her for years because of a clerical mistake in their system. When they discovered the error during a routine audit, they not only corrected her monthly amount going forward but issued a substantial back payment check for all the years she'd been underpaid. 3 separate channels of abundance opened, seemingly out of nowhere, within weeks of each other. Now, some people would call this coincidence. Some would say she just got lucky. But I knew better, and she knew better. These weren't random events. They were the outworking of a changed consciousness. When you change your inner state, when you shift from poverty consciousness to abundance consciousness, the outer world must rearrange itself to match its law. It's as reliable as the law of gravity. But the real victory, and she said this in her letter, wasn't the money itself. It was the change in consciousness. She stopped being someone who couldn't afford and became someone through whom abundance flowed. She stopped clutching and started flowing. She stopped fearing and started trusting. The money was just evidence of the inner transformation. It was the fruit of changed consciousness, proof that the law was working, but the real treasure was the inner peace, the confidence, the knowing that she was always provided for, always supported, always abundant at the level of consciousness. Let me tell you about a young man, 24 years old, working as a waiter. He had big dreams of starting his own business, but he was convinced he didn't have the capital, the connections, or the education. His internal story was powerful. I'm from the wrong side of town. I don't have what they have. Maybe success isn't for people like me. Every thought was a brick in the prison wall he was building around himself. He attended my workshop skeptically. I gave him specific words to repeat. I am successful and prosperous now. And he laughed. He actually laughed and said, "But I'm not. I'm a waiter." And I said to him, "That's your conscious mind talking, the mind trained by circumstances. But your subconscious doesn't argue. It simply accepts what you impress upon it with feeling. When you say, I am successful and prosperous now, you're not describing your current bank account. You're describing your true spiritual reality and impressing your subconscious with the pattern of the success you desire. He committed to 90 days. Every night for 90 days, he repeated these 7 words before sleep. He didn't tell anyone, no announcements, no social media posts, just consistent secret programming. And here's what happened. Weeks in, he noticed he walked differently, more confident. His posture changed. He started getting better tips at the restaurant. Not because he changed his service, but because he was carrying himself differently. His mind was changing, so his perception was changing, and other people's perception of him was changing. Month 2, a customer at the restaurant mentioned looking for someone to help launch a business. Month 3, that same customer offered him a partnership position. No traditional qualifications required. The customer told him, "There's something different about you. I trust you." 1 year later, the business was profitable. But he told me the real miracle was how natural it felt, like he'd stepped into something that was always meant for him. And that's the principle revealed, you see. The 7 words didn't create success out of nothing. They reprogrammed his subconscious from I am limited to I am successful, which changed his feeling, which changed his actions, which changed his results. It's a chain reaction that starts in consciousness. Now let me share a teaching parable with you, something to illustrate how this works. Imagine your subconscious mind as a faithful servant working in a secret room deep in your house. This servant never sleeps, never questions, never judges. Its only job is to take the orders you give and fulfill them perfectly, without asking if they're good for you or bad for you, without evaluating if they're true or false. Just faithful execution of orders received. The problem is most people don't realize they're giving orders. They walk through their days saying, I can't afford this, I never have enough, money is so hard to come by, and their faithful servant, their subconscious, hears every single word. It gets to work immediately, creating circumstances that match the orders. Bills arrive, unexpected expenses appear, opportunities pass by unnoticed. The servant is simply fulfilling the orders it received. One day, you learn about this secret room and this faithful servant. You realize you've been giving the wrong orders your entire life. You've been commanding your servant to create limitation. So you decide to give new orders, 7 specific words that command abundance. At first you feel strange saying them, because you can see your current circumstances and they don't match your words. But you persist. Your servant doesn't argue about current circumstances. It simply begins working on the new orders. It starts to rearrange things, open doors, draw opportunities, shift perceptions. The servant is neutral. It will create poverty or wealth with equal faithfulness, depending solely on the orders received. Within weeks, your outer world begins to reflect the new orders. Not because the universe suddenly likes you better, but because you stopped commanding limitation and started commanding abundance. These 7 words are your new orders to your faithful subconscious servant. The question is, are you willing to give clear, consistent orders? Or will you keep contradicting yourself, asking for wealth while commanding poverty? There's a story in the Bible that demonstrates this principle beautifully. It's about a widow who came to the prophet Elisha in desperate poverty. Creditors were threatening to take her sons as slaves. She had nothing but a small jar of oil, and Elisha didn't give her money. Instead, he told her to gather as many empty vessels as she could from her neighbors, not just a few, as many as possible. Then, in private, she was to pour her small jar of oil into these empty vessels. She obeyed. She poured from her tiny jar, and it kept flowing. One vessel filled, then another, then another. The oil only stopped when she ran out of empty vessels to fill. Now, most people read this as a nice miracle story, but let me tell you what it really means. That small jar of oil was her consciousness, limited in appearance but connected to infinite supply. The empty vessels represented her capacity to receive. The prophet was teaching her to expand her consciousness, to prepare for abundance. And notice this crucial detail. It happened in private. Shut the door, the prophet said. Your subconscious programming must happen away from doubters, away from your own limiting conscious mind, in the secret place of your own consciousness. She had access to infinite supply all along, but her consciousness was limited. When she expanded her capacity to receive, the vessels, and worked in private faith, The shut door, the supply manifested. When you repeat your 7 words in private, before sleep, you're doing exactly what this widow did. You're expanding your consciousness, preparing vessels of expectation, connecting to the infinite supply that's always been available. The oil represents wealth, health, happiness, whatever you need, but it flows only up to the level of your consciousness. These 7 words expand that consciousness. Now let me tell you a cautionary story to show you the negative side of this programming. A man came to my office earning good money but perpetually struggling. Every conversation he'd say, I'm broke, I'm so broke. He said it casually, like a habit, almost like a joke. But I told him, every time you say I'm broke, your subconscious mind accepts it as an order and gets busy making it true. You're literally programming poverty. He protested. It's just an expression, he said. I don't mean it literally. And I responded, your subconscious doesn't understand just expressions. It only understands feelings and persistent impressions. When you say I'm broke 10 times a day, you're giving your subconscious 10 orders to create brokenness. I gave him 7 different words. I am financially prosperous always. Every time he caught himself about to say I'm broke, he had to stop and repeat the new 7 words instead. He reported it was almost physically painful to stop the old habit. That's how deep the programming went. But 3 months later, his financial anxiety had disappeared. 6 months later, promotion and raise. 1 year later, best financial year of his life. And all it took was changing his words, which changed his internal programming. You are programming your subconscious all day long with casual statements. These 7 words are your conscious intervention, your deliberate new program overriding the unconscious programming of a lifetime. Now, these stories reveal the principle at work, but let me explain to you exactly how and why this works. Because when you understand the mechanism, your faith increases, and faith is simply understanding. You have 2 minds functioning right now. Your conscious mind, which is reasoning, choosing, thinking these thoughts you're aware of, and your subconscious mind, which is like the soil that accepts any seed planted and grows it faithfully without judgment. Your conscious mind is the gardener. Your subconscious is the garden. The gardener chooses the seeds, thoughts, words, beliefs, plants them, and the garden grows whatever seeds it receives, whether flowers or weeds, food or poison. This is critical to understand. Your subconscious mind doesn't think. It doesn't evaluate whether something is good for you, or true or false. It simply accepts what is impressed upon it and makes it real in your experience. If you constantly impress it with thoughts of limitation, it will create limited circumstances. If you impress it with abundance, it creates abundant circumstances. A single thought has little power, but a thought repeated with feeling impressed upon the subconscious day after day, this becomes a belief. And beliefs are simply thoughts that your subconscious has accepted as true. Once accepted, your subconscious works 24 hours a day to make that belief real in your experience. 7 words is deliberate. It's short enough to remember, specific enough to be clear, and repeatable enough to create the impression your subconscious needs. Complicated affirmations are harder to feel. Simple words, charged with conviction, penetrate deeper. Here's where most people fail with affirmations. They repeat words without feeling, but feeling is the language your subconscious understands. When you repeat your 7 words with the feeling of already having wealth, with genuine acceptance and peace, your subconscious accepts this as instruction and begins to create circumstances that match. When you say I am wealthy, don't just mouth the words. Pause. Feel what it would be like. Feel the relief. Feel the freedom. Feel the relaxed confidence of someone who has plenty. That feeling is what programs your subconscious. Your subconscious doesn't care if you're rich or poor, happy or sad, successful or failing. It's completely neutral. It simply creates your reality based on your dominant inner conversations and feelings. This is why the same law that keeps one person poor can make another person rich. It's all in how you use it. But here's what you need to understand about timing. Why some people see results in days and others in months. When I say you need to impress your subconscious, I mean you need to make a mark, like pressing a seal into warm wax. A light touch leaves no mark. But firm, consistent pressure creates a lasting impression. Your 7 words, repeated mechanically without feeling, are like touching wax without pressure. Nothing happens. But your 7 words repeated with feeling, conviction, and persistence create the impression that your subconscious must express. There's a specific time when your subconscious is most receptive, that drowsy state right before you fall asleep. Your conscious mind, with all its doubts and reasoning, begins to relax. The critical factor that usually rejects suggestions is sleeping. This is your golden opportunity. Scientists call this the hypnagogic state. I call it the gateway to your subconscious. When you repeat your 7 words in this state, they sink deeper, penetrate faster, and take root more easily than any other time of day. The moment you wake up, before you check your phone, before you start thinking about your problems, is the second best time. Your subconscious is still accessible, and your first thoughts of the day set the tone for how your subconscious will guide you. Start your day by repeating your 7 words with feeling. End your day the same way. Bookend your consciousness with the reality you wish to create. One night of repeating your 7 words will make little difference. But 30 nights? 60 nights? 90 days of consistent impression? Now you're creating genuine reprogramming. Think of it like exercise. One day at the gym creates no visible change, but 90 days of consistent exercise transforms your body. Your consciousness works the same way. Consistent impression creates transformation. Most people try this for a week, see no immediate external change, and quit. They don't understand that the internal change must come first. Your consciousness shifts before your circumstances do. You'll start feeling different before you see different. You'll notice your anxiety decreasing, your confidence increasing, your perception sharpening. These are signs the programming is working. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust the law of growth. When you plant these 7 words in your subconscious with feeling and persistence, trust the law of mind. It's working even when you can't see evidence yet. Now, you might be wondering, what are these specific 7 words? I'll reveal them to you shortly, but first, you need to understand why these words and not others. The 2 most powerful words in any language are, I am. Why? Because whatever follows I am, you are declaring as your identity. Your subconscious listens most carefully to identity statements. When you say I am broke, you're not describing a temporary condition. You're declaring an identity. Your subconscious hears this is who you are, and works to maintain that identity. But when you say I am wealthy, you're declaring a new identity. And here's the secret. Your subconscious doesn't know if you're currently wealthy or not. It only knows what you persistently claim as your identity. In the Bible, when Moses asked God for his name, God said, I am that I am. This wasn't just a name. It was a revelation of the creative power of consciousness. I am is the creative power within you. Whatever you attach to I am, you create. This isn't blasphemy. This is understanding that you're made in the image and likeness of the Creator, meaning you have creative power in your own consciousness. God creates with words. You create your personal world with your words, especially your I am statements. Stop for a moment and think about what you say after I am during your day. I am so tired. I am overwhelmed. I am broke. I am stuck. Each one is a creative statement. Your subconscious is faithful. It will make these statements your reality. The 7 words I'm giving you all begin with or center around I am. Why? Because this activates your creative power at the deepest level. You're not asking for wealth. You're claiming it as your identity. I am wealthy is not a hope or a wish. It's a declaration of spiritual truth. In consciousness, in your true being, you already are wealthy. You're just now impressing that truth on your subconscious so it can manifest in your physical experience. When you first say I am wealthy and your bank account says otherwise, you'll feel resistance. Your rational mind will argue, no, you're not. Look at the bills. This is normal. You're not lying. You're speaking from a higher level, the level of spiritual truth and desired reality. This is called speaking from the end. You speak as if your desire is already fulfilled. This is what Jesus meant when he said, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Notice, believe that you have received, present tense already done. Your 7 words are prayer from the end, claiming the answered prayer before you see physical evidence. But there's something specific about the way you repeat these words that makes all the difference. It's not just what you say, but how you say it, how you feel when you say it. I cannot stress this enough. If you repeat your 7 words like a robot, mechanically, without feeling, they will have little to no effect. Your subconscious responds to the emotional charge, the feeling behind the words. Think about this. When you worry about money, it's not the thought alone that affects you. It's the feeling of anxiety that accompanies it. Your stomach tightens, your chest gets heavy. That feeling is what impresses your subconscious and creates more lack. The same principle works in reverse. When you repeat, "I am wealthy," with the genuine feeling of wealth, relief, joy, freedom, relaxed confidence, that feeling impresses your subconscious and creates wealth. Before you can generate the feeling, you need to know what you're aiming for. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine, if you were truly wealthy right now, how would you feel? You'd feel relaxed, wouldn't you? No anxiety when bills arrive, no stress about prices, a quiet confidence that your needs are met, a lightness in your body, maybe even joy, freedom to be generous. That is the feeling you want to generate when you repeat your 7 words. You're not faking it. You're tuning your consciousness to the frequency of wealth. How do you generate this feeling? Let me give you specific, practical techniques that anyone can use. First, recall a time. Remember a moment when you felt abundant, even if small. Maybe you received unexpected money, even $20 found in an old jacket pocket. Recall that moment of pleasant surprise. Or maybe there was a time when you felt genuinely provided for, when everything you needed showed up exactly when you needed it. Maybe it was a meal shared with friends where you felt satisfied and content. It doesn't have to be a grand moment. Any moment of financial ease or comfort. Close your eyes and go back to that moment. Feel it again. That's the feeling you want to generate when you say your 7 words. Second, imagine vividly. Picture yourself in a specific scene. Maybe you're checking your bank account on your phone and you see a number that makes you smile. Really see it. What does the screen look like? What's the number? Don't worry about being realistic, just imagine a number that would make you feel wealthy. See the smile spreading across your face. Feel the relief flooding through your body, starting in your chest and radiating outward. Feel your shoulders dropping as tension releases. This is not fantasy, this is rehearsal. You're teaching your subconscious what wealth feels like. Third, act as if. This is powerful. How would a wealthy person stand? They'd stand tall, relaxed, confident, not arrogant, just comfortable in their skin. How would they sit? Probably at ease, not hunched over with worry. How would they speak? With calm assurance, not rushed or anxious. When you repeat your 7 words, embody that energy physically. Sit up straight, relax your shoulders, breathe deeply, smile slightly. Your body helps create the feeling. Your body and mind are not separate. They're one system. When you change your body, you change your state, and that changed state impresses your subconscious. Fourth, gratitude generates feeling. This is one of the most powerful tools you have. Start by feeling grateful for what you have right now, in this moment. Even if money is tight, you have something to be grateful for. You have breath in your lungs. You have a roof over your head. Even if it's not the home you want yet, you have food to eat today. You have your health, or at least some measure of it. Start there. Feel genuine gratitude for these blessings. Let that feeling of gratitude fill your chest, warm your heart, and then, from that place of gratitude for what you have, extend that same feeling to the wealth you're claiming. Be grateful for the wealth that's coming, as if it's already here. Thank you for my financial abundance. Thank you for the prosperity flowing into my life. Gratitude is a high vibration that aligns you with abundance. When you're grateful, you literally cannot feel lack at the same time. They're opposite states. Some people try to force feeling and create strain. They scrunch up their face and try really hard to feel something, and this actually works against you. The feeling should be natural, relaxed, almost like remembering something pleasant. If you're straining, if there's tension, you're affirming difficulty. You're telling your subconscious that this is hard, that you have to work at it, that it's not natural. But abundance is natural. Let the feeling be gentle but genuine. Let it be easy. Feel it real. Not feel it will be real, but feel it is real now. When you repeat your 7 words at night, you're not hoping for future wealth. You're feeling the reality of present wealth in consciousness, and that present feeling in consciousness becomes future fact in experience. Your subconscious exists in the eternal now. It doesn't understand someday I'll be wealthy. It only understands I am wealthy now. Feel that present reality. Beyond your 7-word practice, Watch your emotional diet throughout the day. Every time you feel lack, consciously shift to feeling abundance. Every time you feel anxiety about money, return to your 7 words and regenerate the feeling of wealth. This becomes easier with practice. You're retraining your emotional default setting from lack to abundance. Now here's what's fascinating. Your subconscious mind doesn't only respond to words and feelings. There's a third element that multiplies the power exponentially. Your imagination is not mere fantasy. It's the creative workshop where all change begins. Everything created in the physical world was first created in imagination. Your house, your car, this technology you're watching on, all began as images in someone's imagination. Your wealth will follow the same pattern. Before it manifests in your bank account, it must first be created in your imagination and impressed on your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind thinks in pictures, not words. When you imagine something vividly, your subconscious accepts that image as real. This is why warriors create what they fear. They vividly imagine disaster, their subconscious accepts it as real, and then works to create circumstances that match. But you can use this same law deliberately. When you combine your 7 words with vivid imagination, you give your subconscious both the instruction, words, and the blueprint, images. Don't try to visualize how your wealth will come. That's limitation. Your conscious mind can't conceive all the ways infinite intelligence can deliver. Instead, visualize the end result. Imagine checking your bank account and seeing abundance. Imagine the feeling of paying bills easily. Imagine doing something generous because you can. Imagine the smile on your face, the relaxation in your body. Keep it simple. One clear scene that implies wealth is more powerful than complicated fantasy scenarios. Here's your practice. As you lie in bed, repeat your 7 words. As you repeat them, imagine a simple scene that would occur if you were wealthy. Maybe you're at the bank depositing money. Maybe you're declining a purchase not because you can't afford it, but because you don't want it. Maybe you're handing a generous tip to someone. Pick one scene that feels good to you. Repeat it night after night as you say your 7 words. Feel it. See it. Make it vivid. The repetition of the same scene impresses your subconscious deeply. Always visualize from first person, through your own eyes, not watching yourself like a movie, and in present tense, happening now, not in future. This makes it real to your subconscious. That drowsy state before sleep is perfect for visualization because your conscious mind stops interfering. In that state, you can imagine wealth more easily without your rational mind saying that's not true. Your subconscious is wide open, receptive, accepting. The more senses you involve, the more real it becomes to your subconscious. If you're imagining depositing money at a bank, feel the paper in your hands. Hear the teller's voice. See the receipt. Smell the building. The richer the sensory experience, the deeper the impression. Don't change your visualization every night. Use the same scene for weeks. Repetition creates impression. Just like a river carving through rock, it's not one powerful flow, it's consistent flow over time. Now, I need to address something important, the resistance that will come up, the doubts that will try to sabotage your practice. Here's what will happen. You'll start this practice faithfully. You'll repeat your 7 words every night with feeling. You'll visualize. And then, nothing will seem to change. Bills will still arrive. Your bank account will look the same. And doubt will whisper. See? It doesn't work. This is the critical moment where most people quit. Don't. There's always a time lag between planting a seed and seeing the harvest. Your 7 words are seeds planted in your subconscious. They're growing beneath the surface before anything breaks through the soil. Just because you don't see immediate evidence doesn't mean nothing is happening. Your consciousness is shifting. New neural pathways are forming. Your subconscious is rearranging circumstances. Trust the invisible work happening. Every doubt that arises, this won't work for me, I'm different, it's too simple, is simply your old programming resisting the new. It's like an old house settling when you try to renovate. The resistance is actually proof that something is shifting. Don't fight the doubt. Acknowledge it and return to your practice. Thank you for sharing, but I'm impressing my subconscious with a new truth now. Faith is not believing despite no evidence. Faith is understanding the law and knowing it must work because it's law. When you plant a seed, you don't keep digging it up to check on it. You trust the law of growth. Your 7-word practice is the same. Trust the law of your subconscious mind. It must respond to consistent, feeling-filled impression. It's law, not hope. Remember, change happens first in consciousness, then in circumstances. You'll start feeling different before you see different. Pay attention to internal changes. Less anxiety about money, more opportunities noticed, better decisions made naturally, increased confidence, synchronicities appearing. These are signs your subconscious is responding. External evidence will follow. Sometimes, right after starting this practice, things seem to get worse. More bills, unexpected expenses. This isn't the practice failing. It's often old momentum playing out while new momentum builds. Don't let circumstances shake your practice. In fact, this is when to double down. When a bill arrives, don't collapse into "see, I knew I'd always be poor." Instead, immediately repeat your 7 words with renewed feeling. I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous. Treat each challenge as an opportunity to strengthen your new programming. There's one more crucial element I must explain, the concept of wealth consciousness versus poverty consciousness, and how to know which one is actually running your life right now. Right now, you're operating from one of 2 states of consciousness, wealth consciousness or poverty consciousness. This has nothing to do with how much money is in your bank account. It's your internal state, your habitual feeling about abundance and lack. You can be rich financially and have poverty consciousness, always worried, clutching, afraid of loss. Or you can be temporarily limited financially but have wealth consciousness, feeling abundant, generous, trusting in supply. Your 7 words are designed to shift you from poverty consciousness to wealth consciousness. Once the shift is complete in consciousness, the money must follow. How do you know if you're in poverty consciousness? You feel anxiety when spending, even on necessities. You watch prices obsessively. You feel resentful when others prosper. You think I can't afford it automatically. You clutch and hoard out of fear. You feel separate from abundance, like it's out there and you're in here. How do you know if you're in wealth consciousness? You feel calm about finances, even when temporarily limited. You're generous naturally, even in small ways. You celebrate others' success without comparison. You think, how can I create this instead of I can't afford it? You trust in continuous supply. You feel connected to infinite abundance, knowing it flows through you. Your 7 words, repeated consistently with feeling, are installing wealth consciousness. At first, you're pretending. You're saying I am wealthy while your circumstances say otherwise. But you're not trying to change circumstances directly. You're changing consciousness. Once consciousness shifts, circumstances must change to reflect it. People who grow up in wealth often develop wealth consciousness naturally, not because of privilege, but because they've never impressed lack on their subconscious. They expect abundance. People who win the lottery often lose it all within years. Why? They had poverty consciousness. The money changed, but the consciousness didn't. Poverty consciousness will find a way to return to poverty. The beautiful news: consciousness can be changed deliberately through practice. This is what your 7 words accomplish. Here's a truth that might sound mystical but is deeply practical. The universe, life, circumstances, opportunities, acts like a mirror. It reflects back to you what you are in consciousness. When you're in poverty consciousness, the world seems to withhold. Doors close, opportunities vanish. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because your consciousness is literally blinding you to what's available and broadcasting a frequency of lack. When you're in wealth consciousness, doors open, opportunities appear, people want to help you. Again, not because you're lucky, but because your consciousness has changed what you perceive and what you broadcast. Your 7-word practice is the daily reset. Every night you're strengthening wealth consciousness. Every morning you're starting from wealth consciousness. Over time, 60 days, 90 days, this becomes your new default setting. You'll know the shift is complete when you no longer have to try to feel abundant. It will be natural. Bills will arrive and you'll feel calm. Opportunities will appear and you'll think, of course. This is wealth consciousness established. Now, let me be very specific and reveal to you the exact 7 words that will create this transformation and the precise way to use them. The 7 words I'm giving you are simple, powerful, and designed to reprogram your subconscious mind for wealth. They are, I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous. 7 words. 7 simple words that, when used correctly, will transform your consciousness. Why these specific words? I am, as we discussed, these are the 2 most powerful words. You're declaring identity, not wishing for a future state. Your subconscious responds most powerfully to identity declarations. Wealthy, this word encompasses financial abundance, but it's also a feeling state. Wealth is richness in every area. When you say wealthy, you're claiming abundant financial supply. Abundant, this expands beyond just money to include abundant health, ideas, opportunities, relationships. Abundance is the natural state of the universe. You're aligning with that natural flow. Prosperous, this is forward moving. Prosperity implies continuous increase. You're not just wealthy today. You're prospering, growing, expanding continuously. I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous is a complete declaration. It covers identity, I am, present state, wealthy, universal principle, abundant, and continuous movement, prosperous. Tonight, when you go to bed, lie on your back in a comfortable position. Take a few deep breaths and relax your body. As you begin to feel drowsy, repeat these 7 words slowly, with feeling. I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous. Don't rush. Let each word sink in. As you say each word, generate the feeling of wealth. Feel the relief. Feel the abundance. Feel the prosperity flowing through your life. Repeat these 7 words over and over, like a gentle mantra, as you drift towards sleep. Don't count repetitions. That's too mental. Just repeat until you fall asleep. Let these words be the last conscious thought your mind entertains. The drowsy state before sleep is when your subconscious is most receptive. Your conscious mind's defenses are down, your critical factor is relaxed. The 7 words sink directly into your subconscious without resistance. While you sleep, your subconscious continues to work on what you last impressed upon it. You're literally programming yourself for wealth during 8 hours of sleep. When you wake up, before you check your phone, before you think about your problems, while you're still in that half-awake state, repeat the 7 words again. I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous. Say them slowly, with feeling, 10 to 15 times. You're starting your day from wealth consciousness. This sets the tone for how your subconscious will guide you throughout the day. Whenever you catch yourself feeling lack, thinking I can't afford this, worrying about money, stop immediately and repeat your 7 words silently. I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous. You're interrupting the old program and reinforcing the new one. This is why I said to repeat them secretly. No one needs to know. This is between you and your subconscious mind. Jesus taught, when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father in secret. There's wisdom here. When you tell everyone what you're doing, you often invite doubt and skepticism from others. Their disbelief can shake your own faith. Keep your 7-word practice private. Don't announce it. Don't defend it. Just do it consistently, quietly, in the secret place of your own consciousness. As you repeat your 7 words at night, add a simple visualization. Imagine a scene that implies wealth. Maybe you're looking at a bank statement that shows abundance. Maybe you're easily paying bills. Maybe you're being generous with a large tip. Choose one scene and stick with it. Every night, same 7 words, same visualization, same feeling. This consistency creates deep impression. I want you to commit to 90 days of this practice. Why 90 days? Because research shows it takes approximately this long to establish a new neural pathway, a new habit, a new default setting in consciousness. 90 days might seem long, but consider, you've spent years, perhaps decades, programming lack. 90 days to reverse that is remarkably fast. What to expect? Week 1 to 2. You might feel like nothing is happening. You might feel silly. This is normal. The seeds are being planted. Week 3 to 4, you'll notice internal shifts. Less anxiety, more calm. This is consciousness changing. Month 2, you'll start noticing external signs. Small synchronicities, unexpected money, opportunities appearing. Month 3, larger manifestations may appear. Raises, bonuses, new opportunities, resolutions to financial problems. Beyond 90 days, wealth consciousness becomes your new default. The practice becomes natural, easy, and you'll want to continue because you'll have proven the law to yourself. The most important instruction is this: persistence, not perfection but persistence. If you miss a night, don't beat yourself up, just begin again the next night. If you forget during the day, forgive yourself and recommit. The person who repeats these 7 words imperfectly but persistently for 90 days will see greater results than the person who does it perfectly for 10 days and quits. Now, there are some common mistakes that can sabotage this practice, and I want to make sure you avoid them. The biggest mistake is repeating without feeling. You're saying the words but not feeling anything. Your subconscious needs the emotional charge. If you catch yourself just mouthing the words, stop, take a breath. Remember what wealth feels like. Generate that feeling, then continue. Mistake number 2 is doubting during the day. You do your practice beautifully at night, then spend all day worrying about money and contradicting your 7 words. This is like taking 1 step forward and 3 steps back. Watch your thoughts during the day. Every time a thought of lack appears, use it as a trigger to repeat your 7 words silently. You're training your mind to default to abundance instead of lack. Mistake number 3 is looking for immediate evidence. You do the practice for 3 days and then check your bank account expecting a miracle. When nothing has changed, you lose faith. Remember, consciousness changes first, then circumstances, internal, before external. Trust the process. Mistake number 4 is telling everyone. You're excited and tell all your friends what you're doing. Half of them think you're crazy. Their skepticism creates doubt in your mind. Keep your practice sacred and secret. Mistake number 5 is changing the words. You decide to make your own 7 words, or you add more words, or you change them every week. This dilutes the power. Stick with these specific 7 words. Trust the formula. Mistake number 6 is practicing only when you remember. You do it sporadically, some nights yes, some nights no. Consistency is everything. Set a reminder if you need to. Make it a non-negotiable part of your bedtime routine. Mistake number 7 is forcing or straining. You try so hard to feel the feeling that you create tension. This is counterproductive. The practice should be relaxed, gentle, almost easy. If you're straining, you're affirming difficulty. Mistake number 8 is giving up after a financial setback. Just as you start the practice, an unexpected bill arrives or something breaks. You take this as a sign it's not working. Actually, this is often old momentum playing out. Don't quit. This is when to intensify your practice. Mistake number 9 is waiting to feel better before practicing. You think, I'll do it when I'm in a better mood. No. Do it especially when you're not in a good mood. The practice will shift your mood. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Mistake number 10 is not committing to 90 days. You try it for a few weeks, don't see dramatic results, and drift away. Commit to 90 days no matter what. Write it down. Mark your calendar. Prove the law to yourself. How to avoid these mistakes? Set a clear intention. I commit to repeating these 7 words with feeling every night and morning for 90 days. Create accountability. Mark a calendar privately to track your consistency. Remember why. Keep reminding yourself that this is scientific law, not wishful thinking. Be gentle with yourself. If you make a mistake, forgive and continue. Progress, not perfection. Finally, let me share with you the deeper spiritual truth behind why this works, the mystical principle that makes your 7 words more than just psychology. The deepest truth I can share with you is this: you are not separate from the abundance you seek. The wealth, the prosperity, the abundance, it's not out there waiting for you to earn it or deserve it. It exists in consciousness, and consciousness is what you are. God, infinite intelligence, universal mind, whatever name you use, is infinite supply, and that infinite intelligence is not outside you. It's the very presence in you that's aware right now. You're not disconnected from your source. You are the presence of your source individualized. When you say I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous, you're not creating something new. You're recognizing what's already true in the realm of consciousness. In spiritual reality, in the mind of God, you are wealthy. You've always been wealthy. The limitation has only existed in your conditioned consciousness. Your practice is removing the veil of false belief. You're clearing away the conditioning that said I am separate from abundance and remembering the truth, I am abundance. Look at nature. A single apple contains dozens of seeds, each capable of producing a tree that produces thousands more apples. The universe doesn't create limitation. It creates abundance everywhere you look. Poverty is not God's plan for you. Struggle is not your spiritual lesson. These are human creations born of false belief. Your 7-word practice aligns you with the natural abundance of the universe. Some religious teachings make people feel guilty about wanting wealth, as if poverty were more spiritual. This is false doctrine. Poverty doesn't make you holy, it just makes you poor. God, the infinite, wants to express through you in every form, including material abundance. When you prosper, you're allowing the natural flow of divine abundance to express through your life. You become a channel of blessing, able to give, share, and uplift others. Think of yourself as a channel, not a container. Infinite supply doesn't come to you, it flows through you. The 7 words open that channel. They clear the blockages of fear, doubt, and false belief that have been restricting the flow. When the channel is clear, abundance flows naturally, continuously, without strain or struggle. What you're doing with these 7 words is scientific prayer. You're not begging an external God to give you money. You're aligning your consciousness with the infinite abundance that already is, impressing your subconscious mind with this truth, and allowing it to manifest in your experience. This is what Jesus meant by believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. You're claiming your good in consciousness first, knowing that the physical manifestation must follow. This law works for everyone, regardless of religion, education, background, or past. It's as impersonal as gravity. When you align with it, it works. When you violate it through negative thinking, it works against you. You're not being rewarded for good behavior or punished for bad. You're simply experiencing the law of consciousness. What you impress on your subconscious mind with feeling must manifest in your experience. This is both empowering and sobering. You can no longer blame circumstances, other people, the economy, or God for your financial situation. You're the creator of your experience through your consciousness, but the empowering part is, if you created limitation unconsciously, you can create abundance consciously. Your 7 words are your conscious creation tool. There's only one presence and one power in the universe, infinite intelligence, God, the universal mind. This presence is entirely good. It knows nothing of poverty, lack, or limitation. It knows only abundance, wholeness, and infinite supply. You are an individualized expression of this one presence. Therefore, abundance is your spiritual heritage. Your 7 words are simply your way of claiming your inheritance. Now let me give you specific exercises, daily practices, and techniques you can implement immediately to make this work in your life. Your most important practice is the evening ritual. If you do nothing else, do this every single night without fail. Turn off all screens at least 15 minutes before this practice. Dim the lights in your bedroom. Get into bed in comfortable clothing. Lie on your back with arms at your sides, relaxed. Take 3 deep breaths. Inhale slowly through your nose, exhale slowly through your mouth. Starting with your toes, consciously relax every muscle. My toes are relaxed, my feet are relaxed, my ankles are relaxed. Move up through your entire body, legs, stomach, chest, arms, shoulders, neck, face. Feel yourself sinking into the mattress, heavy and relaxed. Let your breathing return to normal, natural rhythm. Don't try to stay alert. You want to become drowsy. Your eyes are closed, your body is completely relaxed. You're in that floating state between awake and asleep. This is perfect. Slowly, with feeling, repeat, I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous. Don't rush. Let each word resonate. As you say I am, feel your identity as an abundant being. As you say wealthy, feel what wealth feels like, relief, freedom, calm. As you say abundant, feel connected to infinite supply. As you say prosperous, feel yourself growing and expanding. As you repeat your 7 words, imagine your chosen scene, maybe looking at a bank statement showing abundance, maybe easily paying all bills with money left over, maybe feeling the freedom to purchase something without worry. Keep it simple, one scene, same scene every night. Make it vivid. See it, feel it, make it real in imagination. Keep repeating your 7 words with feeling. Keep seeing your visualization. Don't count repetitions. Just continue. Let these words be the last thought as you drift into sleep. Your subconscious will work on this all night. If your mind wanders to problems, gently return to your 7 words. If you fall asleep quickly, that's fine. You're programming as you drift off. Never force or strain. This should be pleasant, relaxed, easy. Consistency matters more than perfection. Your powerful morning practice is this. How you start your day programs your subconscious for the next 16 hours. Immediately upon waking, before you check your phone, before you think about your problems, before you get out of bed, while you're still in that half-awake state, repeat your 7 words. Say them slowly, out loud if possible, or silently if others are present. I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous. Repeat 10 to 15 times with feeling. Generate that feeling of abundance as you say each word. Start your day from wealth consciousness, not poverty consciousness. After your repetitions, say, today I am guided to abundance. Today I notice opportunity. Today I act from wealth consciousness. Feel the truth of this. Smile. Physically smile as you say this. Your face tells your subconscious what to feel. As you get up, maintain that feeling of wealth. Notice how differently you move when you feel abundant. Let this set the tone for your entire day. Your first thoughts of the day are incredibly powerful. They set your default emotional state. When you start with your 7 words, you're beginning from abundance instead of lack, from faith instead of fear. Throughout your day, you'll encounter triggers that activate poverty consciousness. Use them as opportunities. Seeing a price that seems high, receiving a bill in the mail, hearing someone complain about money, noticing something you want but think you can't afford, checking your bank account and feeling anxiety. These are all triggers. The moment you feel lack, immediately, right then, wherever you are, take a slow breath. Silently repeat, I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous. Repeat 3 to 5 times. Feel the truth of it. Reset your consciousness back to abundance. You're interrupting the automatic poverty programming. Instead of spiraling into lack, you're consciously choosing wealth consciousness. Over time, this becomes automatic. Your default setting changes. When a bill arrives, don't panic. Breathe. I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous. Feel calm. Open the bill from abundance. When you see a price, don't immediately think I can't afford it. I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous. Then decide if you want it, different from can afford. When a friend complains about being broke, don't join in. Silently repeat your 7 words. Maintain your wealth consciousness. No one needs to know you're doing this. It's between you and your subconscious. This is your secret weapon for reprogramming all day long. Gratitude is the fastest way to generate the feeling of abundance. Once per day, preferably evening before your bedtime ritual, take out a journal or piece of paper. Write, I am grateful for. List 5 to 10 things you're grateful for regarding money and abundance. Be specific. I am grateful for the roof over my head. I am grateful I had money for food today. I am grateful for the water I can freely drink. I am grateful someone paid me this week. I am grateful for my health, which is wealth. I am grateful for unexpected money I received, even if it was small. Gratitude generates the feeling of abundance. When you feel grateful, you can't simultaneously feel lack. You're programming abundance by acknowledging what's already here. As you write each gratitude, add your 7 words. I am grateful for food today. I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous. You're linking gratitude, which feels good and true, with your 7-word affirmation, which your mind might resist. The gratitude makes the affirmation easier to accept. People who practice daily gratitude literally begin to see more abundance appear in their lives. Why? Because a grateful mind is an abundant mind, and an abundant consciousness creates abundant circumstances. Now, this practice is powerful but requires courage. It involves looking at yourself and speaking truth. Once a day, preferably morning after waking, stand in front of a mirror. Look directly into your own eyes. Say your 7 words out loud, looking at yourself. I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous. Repeat 5 to 10 times. Maintain eye contact with yourself. Let yourself feel the words. There's something deeply transformative about declaring truth to your own reflection. It's intimate, it's direct, and it bypasses many mental defenses. First few times, awkwardness, discomfort, even tears. This is normal. You're confronting years of false belief. Some people feel emotional because they've never spoken to themselves this way. Push through the discomfort. After a week or two, it becomes easier, even empowering. You start to believe what you're saying. After your 7 words, add, I love you, I'm proud of you, you are worthy of abundance. Speak to yourself like you would speak to a beloved child. Your subconscious responds to this self-love and acceptance. Many people's poverty consciousness is rooted in feelings of unworthiness. The mirror technique addresses this directly. You're declaring to yourself that you are worthy, you are abundant, you are prosperous. Commitment is strengthened by measurement. Get a calendar or create a simple chart. Mark today as day 1. Count forward 90 days. That's your completion date. Each day, mark whether you completed evening ritual, yes or no, morning ritual, yes or no, daytime triggers practice, yes or no. Every Sunday, write brief answers to these questions. How is my anxiety about money this week compared to last? 1 to 10 scale. What small synchronicities or opportunities appeared? How often did I catch myself in poverty consciousness and redirect? What shifts am I noticing internally? You'll see your progress clearly. You'll notice patterns. You'll have evidence when doubt arises. I've been doing this for 47 days consistently. I'm not stopping now. You'll notice external changes you might otherwise miss. On day 1, write down current bank account balance, current anxiety level about money 1 to 10, current beliefs about wealth. On day 90, write down the same things. You'll be amazed at the transformation. Day 30, you've established the habit. Day 60, consciousness is shifting noticeably. Day 90, new default setting is installed. Acknowledge yourself at each milestone. You're doing something most people never do. Consciously reprogramming your mind. Here's a 60-second practice you can do anytime you need to reset your consciousness to abundance. Before a meeting about money, before making a purchase decision, when feeling overwhelmed by bills, when checking your bank account, anytime you notice fear creeping in, do this. Pause. Stop what you're doing. Breathe. 3 slow, deep breaths. Repeat your 7 words 3 times with conviction. I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous. Feel, generate the feeling of wealth for 10 seconds. Proceed, return to what you were doing, but from abundance consciousness. You can't always do a full visualization practice, but you can always find 60 seconds. This quick reset prevents you from making decisions from fear and lack. Use this practice before getting out of bed if you forgot morning practice, before meals, before checking email or finances, before difficult conversations, after any negative news. Set 3 alarms on your phone. 10 a.m., 60-second prosperity reset, 2 p.m., 60-second prosperity reset, 8 p.m., 60-second prosperity reset. When the alarm sounds, wherever you are, stop and do the practice. In 90 days, you won't need the alarms. It will be automatic. You now have 7 specific practices. Evening ritual non-negotiable nightly, morning ritual daily, daytime trigger response as needed throughout day, gratitude multiplier daily, mirror technique daily, 90-day tracker ongoing, instant prosperity meditation multiple times daily. My recommendation is start with practices 1 and 2, evening and morning. Add 1 new practice each week. By week 7, you're doing all 7 practices. This creates powerful, comprehensive reprogramming. Consistency beats intensity. It's better to do the evening ritual imperfectly every single night than to do all 7 practices perfectly for 3 days and then quit. You have everything you need. These practices are simple, free, and require only minutes of your day. You need no special equipment, no training, no permission. Just consistency, feeling, and faith in the law of your subconscious mind. My dear friend, we've covered so much together in this time. Let me leave you with the essence of everything I've shared. Your subconscious mind is the most powerful creative force in your personal world. It doesn't care about your past, your circumstances, or your education. It only responds to what you consistently impress upon it with feeling. These 7 words, I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous, are your tool for deliberate impression. You are not separate from the abundance you seek. You're not trying to get something external. You're recognizing and claiming what's already true in consciousness. Wealth is a state of mind before it's a state of your bank account. Change the consciousness, and the circumstances must follow. This is law. Your 90-day journey starts tonight. Tonight, when you lie down to sleep, begin. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait until you believe it more. Start where you are, with whatever faith you have, and let the practice build your faith. The law will prove itself to you if you prove yourself faithful to the practice. Place your hand over your heart right now. Feel it beating. That's life force flowing through you. The same infinite intelligence that creates galaxies, that grows forests from seeds, that heals your body while you sleep, that intelligence is in you, as you, working through you right now. Say this with me now, out loud if you can. I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous. Infinite intelligence flows through me as prosperity. I accept my financial good now. Every cell of my body, every atom of my being vibrates with abundance. My subconscious mind is now programmed for wealth. I sleep in peace, knowing my good is assured. And so it is. If you do this practice faithfully for 90 days, you will not be the same person. Your consciousness will have shifted. Your circumstances will be shifting. And you'll have proven to yourself that the law of your subconscious mind is real, reliable, and available to you always. Be patient with yourself. Be gentle. You're learning a new way of being. Some days will feel easier than others. What matters is that you return to the practice, day after day, night after night. Persistence, not perfection. If this resonated with you, if you felt something shift inside you, do me a favor. Click the subscribe button below. I create these teachings to help people transform their lives through understanding the laws of mind. When you subscribe, you'll have access to more teachings, more techniques, more truth about how your consciousness creates your reality. Give this video a thumbs up if it spoke to you. It helps others find this message who need it. And please, comment below. Tell me, are you committing to the 90 days? What's your biggest takeaway? Have you tried this before? What happened? Your comments inspire me and create a community of people all working on wealth consciousness together. You are loved. You are worthy. You are capable. Abundance is your spiritual birthright. These 7 words are your key. Use them. Trust them. Watch what happens. The universe is abundant. Your subconscious is faithful. The law is reliable. Your wealth is assured. Now go and prosper. Thank you for spending this time with me. I believe in you. Now believe in yourself. Good night, and God bless you.